Welcome to the show, everybody. Back for another one. Boys, how was your weekend?
It was hot.
Yes.
It was hot.
It finally cooled off here a little bit. Like yesterday, it was in the 70s. The day before, it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Not like the 100 it was for the week before.
Yeah, you're right. It did slow down a little bit.
Thank God.
From
I had
earlier
meat
in the
rolling
week,
off the
man,
bone.
It was pretty brutal there for a little while, but it was good. It was good. I don't know if you guys saw there's a hurricane that's rolling up our way now too. So
Hurricane.
I mean, not our way, but just as
I was
United
like,
States
hurricane
way.
in Tennessee? What happened?
Yeah,
Yeah, what
Yeah.
are y'all doing over there? What it was is they broke out the hose at the fire station and started spraying down the streets. And in Tennessee, they call that a hurricane.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense now. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. What's it? Like a category 3 supposed to hit Florida?
it's supposed to be a Category 3 by the time it hits like the Panhandle, Florida. So
Yikes.
hope everyone there stays safe and all that.
Pray for all those folks. Hope they stay safe. I'm sure that's not going to be a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
John Boy, how was your weekend? What'd you get into?
We had softball tournament this weekend, which was we were down some bodies, but man, we played really well. The girls played really well. We just go through these things, man, where like we have innings where we'll get like the first 2 outs, and then like we're like, all right, time to start throwing the ball around, let them have a homer off of a single. So, but look, man, they played really well, and they're doing really well. So that's really good. And then I had my daughter this weekend, so we got a chance to hang out and do some cool stuff. So it was a good weekend. So back to the grind. Baseball, 2 more winners last night, puts us at baseball now. We're 38 games, all the crying, wah, nanny, boo-boo. 38 games over, 37.64 units over. So that means if you're $1,000 better, I've made you $37,640. If you were $100 better, I made you $3,764.
Yeah.
So
Not bad.
wah, boo boo, shut up.
God,
He's so nice.
that's a hell of a sales pitch, right?
So-
Shut
yeah.
up.
Well,
So-
you know what it is because I don't need a sales pitch. When you're 13 years in a row doing this, I don't need a sales pitch. Against my better judgment, I gave out, I will say against my better judgment, I gave out some games Saturday, right? UTEP totally just handed the game away.
They
should have
did.
been, 2 turnovers inside the 10.
Mhm.
We got a chance there at the end. I don't know what the coach is thinking. You kick the field goal and go to overtime. But tomato. And then New Mexico State, first of all, I should have known it was a setup. They put New Mexico State and UMass on ESPN. They couldn't find underwater basket weaving to put on ESPN instead.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that didn't work out. But, again, all right, so we had a losing day. Look, you want a sales pitch? Here's my sales pitch. If you sign up, we're going to have some weekends that are 0-8, and you'll be on suicide watch. So, but if you're strong enough, if you're a strong enough human being that every time something doesn't go your way, you can fight through it like we all have to do in regular life, then I'm going to make you thousands upon thousands upon thousands the next 5 months. Or you can sit there, whine, and cry, and here's what you'll do. You'll leave or not sign up, and you'll go spend the same amount of money on a bunch of losers that tell you how great they are, and by week 4, they'll all have you busted because they can't pick winners.
God,
They
I think
can't
you
pick
missed your
winners.
calling as a motivational speaker.
No, I just try to keep it real, man. Just try to keep it real. But for the
Seems a
people
little
that have
dark
already,
sometimes.
for the multitudes that have already signed up, congratulations. It's going to be a great football season. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I'm going to come out firing. I love the NFL.
Yeah. I'm looking forward
Who
to
doesn't?
football.
I love week 1 of the NFL.
Oh, well,
I will say, and I saw your plays come out, I was surprised because we talked about it on here. We were going to take Notre Dame, and then you did a little switchy switch on me and took Navy. I played Notre Dame just because I felt good about it.
I would never do that. You want to know why?
Do what?
I would have never played Notre Dame there. I would rather have the loss. You want to know why?
What?
Because if I'm willing to lay 21.5 there, I'm willing to do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the drunk driver, right? I'm just gonna do it this
Going
one
dark
time.
again. God, I tell you,
No,
we're
I mean-
uplifting on this show today.
Man, that's what we get for recording in the morning, I guess.
I'm not that bad. I can get home this time. Ask Henry Ruggs. I can get home this time, and next thing you know,
Jeez,
you done killed somebody. So, like,
that's so true.
Again, I mean, you say, John, that's a very dark parallel. But here is why the books. I say this all the time. When you go in and cash your ticket, the sports book does not care if they hand you $500,000. They know they're going to get it back from you and then some, because you can't stay disciplined enough. You know what I mean? It's like very sharp individuals out in Vegas, guys I know. They'll do something stupid like Purdue's minus 5,200 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So they lay $50,000 to win $10,000.
Ouch.
I mean, who in their right mind would do that? And they end up getting upset. So again, if you're willing to do it once, it's just like if you're willing to lay points on the road once, here's the worst thing that can happen to you. You get away with it. Because if you get away with it once, it's like a little kid. I got an 8-year-old daughter. I know she tests the waters. If you get away with it once, you'll continue to push the envelope and it'll end drastically bad for you. And listen, the margin for error in sports betting, you can make a lot of money. You can make a living. But the margin for error is razor thin. You cannot be willing to bet anything or any line at any time. Because if you are, I'm just telling you, you're going to get just absolutely fisted like a prison inmate. Jeez. That's all I got to say about that on Monday morning.
It's a hell of a start, I tell you.
Think our sponsor, Starbucks.
Yeah, we're off and rolling today. It's just the
Point
dark
your camera down so we can see that Starbucks cup a little bit. You're still.
Hey, don't tell him to point it down. He'll point it down too far, and nobody wants to see that.
Right there's the woman in my life. Look at her. The queen.
Oh, I forgot. Pumpkin spice is back. So you must.
That's exactly what this is. Pumpkin spice latte, hot with a little almond milk. You know, I can't drink the regular milk. Gets stuck in my throat.
Oh, God. Yeah, that came out. All the fall stuff came out last week. The wife made me.
They got to
take her by there on the way to work.
Yeah, they got a cold apple crunch thing. So I did my first walk this morning. I got up 4:30, did my first walk with the dog, and came in, did the dishes, and then I was like, all right, let's go pup. So threw old Vanilla Dolan in the car with me and got her a little pup cup treat. She was very happy.
Did you guys go through the drive-thru?
Yeah.
Did you get any looks from the girls that were working the drive-thru with the
I mean, everybody loves little Dolan. She's so cute.
Nice. I know.
So
I got my in there.
Yeah, he's trying.
Mm-hmm.
I got my latte, and she got her pup cup, and now she's on my feet, so I can't even move one way or the other here on this.
Good.
Desk.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be, man.
Move a lot.
I'm locked in.
Good.
I'm
locked
nice
into the end of this show.
For a second.
Yeah, you're a little sporadic, so it's good. She'll kind of keep you grounded.
I can't even turn the chair right now. If I do, she'll wake up, hit her head.
Yeah, we don't want that. No. All right, boys, let's talk a little baseball. Obviously, we talked about 2-0 on Sunday, 38 games over 500. Let's take a look up. Mariners have taken the lead in the AL West. How for real do we think the Mariners are? You think they can make a run here?
Man, well, look, when you got Luis Castillo, you got Gilbert. I mean, they got arms. Arms, and the bullpen has been solid. And Julio Rodriguez, I think at some point in time, he needs to get some consideration for MVP, right? When I look at it, he's just a guy that's been he's been on a mission. They got bats up and down the lineup.
Yep, absolutely. We'll jump to the next one here. Obviously, Ohtani, awful news last week. Tears his UCL, gonna need surgery, so can't pitch, but it seems like he's going to continue to fight through it and hit. Would we just shut him down, or do we think just let him continue to swing the bat?
Well, look, if I was Ohtani, I'd shut it down, but I think it's Ohtani that wants to play. And look, this guy's a warrior, and I appreciate that. But, dude, you play for the LA Angels. And again, I've said this 1,000 times. You guys laugh, but I'm just trying to be honest. unless Tony Danza and Danny Glover are showing back up, there is nothing there for them. So, I mean, kudos to him, but I just don't see the why. Like, they're totally, it's like bringing Trout back. Listen, Trout's been injured his whole daggone career.
Yeah, there's no reason to run him out there.
And, you know, I like Mike Trout. I think people putting him in their all-time starting lineups a lot ridiculous. Not a little, a lot.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, don't be a prisoner of the moment. He's not that great. But I just think that, yeah, man, I think that if you're but then again, the Angels don't care. They're trying to sell tickets. Yeah, I mean, if they were trying to win, right, when they said, we're going to go after it, we're going to keep Ohtani and go after it. But you didn't, you got Lucas Giolito.
Hey, Giolito's pretty, it wasn't a good move.
Well,
I was going to try to
I like him. He's a solid, maybe number 3 starter, but if you're going to roll the guy out there and think he's just going to lead you,
he wasn't a difference maker. We talked about it.
Absolutely,
not really. Yeah. So, do we think this affects Ohtani? Obviously, he's due for a big payday, big contract. What do we think that does for that? Where do we think he ends up? I think you were high on him going to San Francisco.
Yeah, I still am. He's a West Coast guy. He loves the Chinese community. Listen, biggest Chinese communities in California, especially LA. I think that's why a lot of the Angels were thinking maybe they could keep him. But listen, I think it's San Francisco, but it's either San Francisco or LA. He's not going to the East, which, again, ticks me off about the Angels because the Orioles were going all in for him. Would he have re-signed with Baltimore? No, but that probably would have been enough to put Baltimore in the World Series, which would have been cool being, close to home here. So, is what it is. Well, Orioles still looking good, but yeah, I think it's the Giants. I mean, but the Dodgers aren't going to surprise me if they get him.
Yeah. Do we think this affects the money for him at all?
No, absolutely not. He's going to be all right. I mean, listen, Brock Purdy got a starting job. I mean, who needs an arm?
Poor Brock Purdy. I tell you, you just continue to roll on that guy. I think he'll be all right, though. And then we'll obviously correct you. Shohei Ohtani is Japanese, not Chinese.
Yeah. I mean,
got to get John Boy a map. But it's all right.
Japanese food is much better. I love the yum yum sauce.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, after he hit his 49th homer the other night, he was rounding the bases and looked at the pitcher and said, yum yum.
Jesus. All right, so we'll jump to the next one. John, obviously you are watching this intently for Vegas. The A's stadium design seems like it's on schedule is what they're saying. They filed the paperwork. I think Oakland's giving them a little headache here. But it looks like the earliest the A's would play in Vegas would be 2028. The lease expires at the Coliseum. Was it after this year, next year?
The end of 2024. So they're gonna,
they're gonna have to figure out.
They're gonna be like everybody else around the San Francisco Bay Area, homeless.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, are they just gonna roll up and play at like a high school stadium until the one in Vegas is done? Probably has enough seats.
I was getting ready to say the attendance isn't going to be an issue. I'll be really interested to see, I would assume UNLV's got a baseball team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they do.
You know what I mean? So do they play at the college state? I mean, again, how many people are going out to watch the game? But, Vegas can do some pretty spectacular stuff with, how they do boxing and UFC. So, I mean, there may be a way somehow, some way, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could always maybe split time with somebody else in California, right? Like rent out their stadium. Somebody did that years ago, didn't they? Didn't somebody, like 2 major league teams were playing in the same ballpark?
Maybe.
I mean, it's been a decade, but I swear that may have happened before. But I can't think of who, and they weren't even in the same city. They were just same state.
Yeah, UNLV, I was looking at pictures. They have a pretty nice baseball stadium. Like they could,
Yeah, I mean, the problem is the middle of summer. People are going to die out there. I mean, they're going to have to have a lot of like starts on the East Coast at 1 a.m. and the game starts at 10 o'clock on the West because it's so daggone, God,
it's going to be super hot in Vegas though too in the summertime. It's a scorcher.
Yeah, but that stadium's going to be I guarantee it's going to be one of those retractable roof ones that's indoors. That, hey, look, you got the Raiders stadium. Do you do something there, right, where they can play there? I mean,
maybe
where it's all turf, like
Tampa and you don't have to worry about it because they're not making the playoffs. So
no, not until. I mean, I don't know. Brady gave them a pretty good motivational speech going into their last preseason games. You see that?
No, I was talking about the A's aren't making the playoffs. So
oh, yeah. No,
doesn't really matter.
Not
fall scheduling's not going to be an issue.
Not unless basically. Ricky Henderson, Mark McGuire, Terry Steinbach, and Canseco man, that team was the bomb back in the early 90s.
It's very good. Yeah, hopefully they get this, stadium design done, get it built. I did see funny thing, the new sphere thing they had in Vegas. Remember, they've been working on this thing forever. It's got screens on the outside. Apparently forgot to do a little waterproofing. Forgot it rains in Vegas. So they were having some issues with some of the panels shorting out. So take your time on that A's stadium. Make sure you get everything worked out. Don't need big issues. That thing costs like, what was it? Billions of dollars. Nobody thought to waterproof the outside. I mean, it does rain in Vegas occasionally.
Well, listen, my buddy Ken, who's going to be putting in the circuit place for me, I got to fly out there next week for us to sign up and all. But he said his electric bill $770
for electric.
Yeah, totally insane.
Has it always been that way, or is that new?
He says it's about 400s on the low end. And I'm like, dear God. But because they have to run the way they have to run the AC out there.
I know, but I thought they had a lot of solar out there in Nevada. Is that not doing it for them? Figure.
A lot of people are skeptical. I did find, because I told you guys I've been looking for a condo out there right by Green Valley.
You love that place.
Pool and I would really like to have a residency at Green Valley, but apparently, they frown upon that stuff. It's like peeing in the kid pool.
What?
Like a residency where you stay there, for months at a time. I would rather just do that. That would be easier, right? Yep. But anyway, I found condos for like $245. I mean, nice 1,300 square foot, 2-bedroom pool. Yeah, I mean, the back of it looks like, it's pretty nice. So
you looking to make the move out to Vegas?
I'm looking. Well, I thought about the thing was if you owned it right now, you could pay for the whole year's mortgage renting it out Super Bowl week.
Oh yeah, easily. I'm sure.
Because there's places people are renting shacks for $10,000 for 3 days out there.
Good Lord.
A nice place for 4 days out there. People are renting their condos, apartments for $20,000 an apartment for 4 days for the Super Bowl. So you could literally, if you had a nice place, you could pay for almost your whole year's mortgage this first year off the Super Bowl.
Hope nobody destroys your apartment.
Oh, well, you got waivers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, let us know how that apartment search goes for you.
Yeah. Well, it's rough, man. I don't think
you get one with a couple bedrooms, man.
I don't think it's going to happen this year, though.
Yeah, maybe next
softball,
year.
all that. Coaching basketball, football needs to be in the summer and fall for me. That would be much better.
No, it doesn't. It needs to be in the fall and winter, like God intended. Don't be stupid.
Well, can we switch my schedules around?
Hey, that's on you with your schedules, baby. Hey, move some stuff around.
I love giving back to the kids in the community. What can I say?
Absolutely. All right, we're going to jump into
a sponsor, Starbucks, Planet Fitness, and Manscaped.
God, we just keep getting them. I tell you, I've yet to see one of those sponsorship checks, but I'm sure they're in the mail. They're on the way, right?
Premier Protein.
Good. Yeah. All right. Jump to a little college football. Obviously kicked off this weekend, week 0. Had some games to watch. Obviously for me, I was very excited to watch Notre Dame, see what they were going to look like. And good God Almighty, what difference it makes when you have a quarterback. Sam Hartman looked dynamite.
They did play Navy.
Well, everybody was high on Caleb Williams playing San Jose State. So if you're going to be all high on one of them, you got to be on high on the other.
Whoa. I'll stop you right there. San Jose State is the defending Mountain West champion. They got 16 starters back. They got Will Cordero back, who led the Mountain West. He's a really good quarterback. That San Jose State team is a really good team, and that was a close game at halftime.
Yeah. Williams looked good, though. I will say.
So,
Caleb looked good.
I'm just saying, don't beat up on Sparty there in San Jose, which, you know, they did a phenomenal job because that's a really hard place to build a program.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, AJ knows that. I mean, that's just a really hard place. They've never been good. But what they've been able to do last year, and I think they're going to be really, really good this year and really, really special. As a matter of fact, I hope the weekend does get off on the right foot Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Because Sunday, there's 2 games I absolutely love. And as a free play, I'll give one out now. San Jose State plus 17.5 at home against Oregon State in that DJ Uiagalelei. I throw in completion.
Oh, that should be a good game.
Uiagalelei. Yeah. Give me the home dog at 17.5 with Will Cordero. Book it.
All right. So how do we feel? We'll talk about each one of these quarterbacks. Obviously, I think there's been a lot of hype preseason about both of them. So first, we'll start with Notre Dame. Did you watch any of the game? How do you feel like they looked with Hartman?
I did not.
Highlights?
I did not see anything on the game. Like I said, I was at softball all day. I was looking on my tracker. People, obviously, you know, I have my BCCS hat on there, and so everybody kind of knows what I do. They know what I do, man. So, yeah, I mean, people are like, man, Notre Dame looks great. And I'm like, okay, well, A, it's in Ireland, so there you go. B, they're playing Navy. There you go. I mean, it's not hard to defend Navy. They're going to run the ball right, left, and then every once in a while they'll get tricky and run up the middle.
I did think it was funny. So they didn't throw the ball for a while, right? They just ran it. And then when they did try to throw it the first time, the 2 receivers ran into each other. And I was like, this is why you don't throw the football. This is why Navy
runs.
Like
a fish out of water.
Yeah. And then they didn't throw it again for a while. So, yeah.
But listen, I'm not going to take anything away from Notre Dame. I've even said I think Sam Hartman is going to be electric. Losing Tommy Reese, the offensive coordinator, I'm interested to see. I tell you what, this Ohio State Notre Dame game is just going to be fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating because, listen, I never doubt Notre Dame's defense, right?
Nah, their defense is always
with Freeman there. I do, and he's a young coach. He's trying to figure it out. But really, Notre Dame's success is all going to depend on the offense. They got the quarterback. They got a couple skill guys.
Their offensive line, I mean, Hartman didn't get touched.
He didn't get touched, but again, it was Navy. So now you got Ohio State and their triple quarterback carousel. You know, last year we had Notre Dame at Ohio State. Notre Dame got the cover. They were getting 14.5. Now they're plus 8.5 at home. We'll see how that line moves around against Ohio State. That's week 2, September 9th. So
I mean,
I will
NC State. Ohio State's like week 4.
Or week 4, sorry.
Yep.
So that's when I want to see them matched up because they got NC State next week, and then who they got?
So this week they got Tennessee State, then NC State on the road, then they get
Tennessee
Central
State,
Michigan at home, and then Ohio State at home.
Okay, so East Tennessee State, they'll destroy them. In NC State, they'll beat the brakes off of them. In Central Michigan, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So let's see what happens when they get into this Ohio State game. That's
man, I really
I want to
go to that game.
What's the date on that?
It is September 23rd.
Of course it is. I would have a tournament that day.
Don't worry, I'll watch it for you.
4:30? Why is it not at 7:30? Why would you not put Ohio State and Notre Dame as the ABC main game with Herb Street and see who writes these daggone schedules?
Maybe the time. I mean, that's what it says on Google. Let me look. Hold on.
Is it that hard to find the best college football game and say, hey, don't care whose network's what, that belongs to Herb Street and Fowler?
Apparently it is.
Though I will say, I really do like Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt, guys.
Yeah.
AJ, are you a fan?
I like Gus Johnson. Yeah.
What about Joe Klatt?
I'm sorry. So on Google it had it wrong. On ESPN it had it right. 6:30 on NBC.
I mean, still 6:30. What freaking time is that?
It's 6:30. 7:30 on the East Coast.
Oh, well, you're doing that stupid Central Time thing. Everybody goes off East Coast. Why do even the West Coast people go? Even Vegas goes off East Coast.
I just go by the time it gives me on the thing.
All right, 7:30. So we're good. It's on NBC. So, but here's the problem.
Always.
NBC, who does those games?
I don't know off the top of
Don't
my
even
head.
know.
Because it was Tirico and
It might still be.
Drew
Hold on.
Brees, but then Drew Brees figured out, announcing really isn't for me. Look, there's the spot. Dan Orvalowski.
Here we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Orlovsky, I think, is how
Yeah,
you
it's
pronounce it.
Orlovsky.
Stout guy too.
Good God almighty.
That's- Is he allowed to do games on NBC if he's an ESPN guy?
Probably
I
not.
don't see why not. Herb Street does Amazon and ESPN.
Mm-hmm. True.
I mean, I think he's phenomenal. I think he's absolutely phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah, he's on your man crush list for sure.
Yeah, I tell you who was on my man crush list as a player, but I'm not a fan. Is last night. It's
Rico
really
and Sims. You're right. Sorry.
Rico and Sims. Oh
Yep.
yeah, you gotta replace Sims with Orville Redenbacher.
Orlovsky.
There you go.
Over Rodenbacher. That's
Yeah.
it. Popcorn.
It's close. It's
Um,
close.
But man, Greg Olson's just brutal.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, listening to him,
He does a good job.
just when I have a big time game, that's just not the guy I want to hear. He just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your guys that you like. So
Yeah,
He's not
listen,
one
I
of them, I
can't
guess.
wait for these Thursday night football games better get better because Al Michaels, I got to have him. I mean, I can't have him just destroying Amazon in the NFL on Thursday nights. He's too good.
yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, he gets a good one to kick it off. Lions Chiefs will be good. So
Yes, it will. It will. I'll
Very
be
good.
interested to see which way the line moves.
all right, so we talked a little about Hartman. Caleb Williams obviously had a great day as well. How do we feel like USC? Obviously off to a fast start, which is what we expected. What do we think about Caleb Williams? Did you get to watch any of that game, John?
No, I didn't watch. The only game I got to
Jesus.
watch, I got to watch the USC.
It's going to be like this all season because we have a problem. You got to watch some of these games.
The USC and whatchamacallit, Penn State game, right? Or the USC San Jose State game, sorry. It was on like the Pac-12 network, and I was like, hey, the Pac-12 isn't even around anywhere. But where is that network? Like, I couldn't find the game on anywhere.
It should be on your YouTube TV. I think.
I got
think they have
stuck
the
watching.
Pac-12.
I got stuck watching UTEP and Jacksonville State just so I could just feel like I was getting murdered in my eyes.
Yeah, well. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. Obviously, we thought the Big 12 was done adding teams because with their media deal with ESPN, 16 was the limit unless they renegotiated. Came out over the weekend that they may be interested in adding 4 more Pac-12 teams. And it came out yesterday, maybe not. Now I think we're back on, yeah, we might just add those. So that would take Stanford, Cal, Washington State, and Oregon State as possible additions to the Big 12, which would take them to a total of 20 teams if this happens. Now, like I said, obviously I think there's going to have to be some negotiation with ESPN because their current media deal caps at 16 teams for the amount of revenue share that they're currently getting.
Well, Stanford doesn't even want revenue share. They just want somebody.
They just want a home.
They're like
just
a homeless
let someone
person. I
love
just need a
them.
meal.
Yeah, absolutely. So this would be interesting. I mean, obviously the Big 12, we've talked about them multiple times, extremely proactive throughout all this, picking up teams, trying to better the conference. This would be big for them, though. You had Stanford, you had Cal. Washington State's been good. Oregon State's been good. I mean, just continuing to add pieces. Do we think this gets done with the Big 12?
Well, I guess my first question is, and we make jokes about the Pac-12 being dead, but what are they doing?
I saw some reports that ESPN offered them a $31 million a year deal with $31 million per school for revenue share. They want $50 million, and ESPN was like, we're not doing that.
31. Who offered them 31? There's nobody left.
ESPN offered them 31. And they said,
well, no wonder they keep laying people off. Has anybody told them USC, Oregon, and Washington and UCLA aren't there anymore?
I'm wondering if that offer, though, I saw that and I didn't really get the timing. I'm wondering if that offer was made before Oregon.
Well, see, I heard
bounced.
The Pac-12 and Mountain West were going to merge, which would kind of save the Pac-12 because there are some good teams in the Mountain West, right? Boise State. I mean, of course, they lost, the Utah or the BYUs of the world. But, I mean, Boise State's over there. You got Hawaii. it wouldn't be a power conference, but it would be a good little conference, right? So why they're not doing it? I mean, listen, if those 4 teams leave, that's it of the Pac-12, right, AJ? I mean, that's the last 4 teams left. So what, I mean...
Yeah, Pac-12, so they gotta
wake up. This is boys to men. We're at the end of the road.
So with them, they got a media deal, an offer from Apple for $23 million, but it would have all been Apple streaming. So I get why they turned that one down, right? You want the ability to have some primetime games. If you're just going to go to all streaming, I get that one. Now
the whole world's going that way anyway.
I know, but I don't think they're going to want everyone to have to pay extra for. Because with Apple, you would have had to have paid, just like MLS soccer. You have to pay for a package to watch them. So you would have had to have done the same thing with
the
Pac-12.
whole world's going that way.
I'm
telling you, you guys deny it. 5 to 10 years, the Super Bowl is going to be pay-per-view.
I don't think they'll go pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, and listen, they're not going to lose one viewer. Nobody's going to say, what? I got to pay $20-$30 for the Super Bowl? I'm not doing that. Yeah, you are, dude. All of you are.
Depends on the network, yeah. I mean, I think if they have the right network involved enough people already had it, Peacock or something like that, right? Like where it's, I could see it.
I mean, listen, the Sunday ticket, DirecTV and Dish Network, all of them, the first shoe to drop was moving March Madness to where it was all on cable. I mean, because for years you only got the one game, right? And the rest of it, people bought DirecTV just for that, and then Dish Network and all them were able to do it. So that was the first thing to go away. Now that you lose the Sunday ticket, why would anybody in their right mind have satellite TV?
Yeah.
And again, the whole world happens from our cell phones now, right? So like, again, most of the people I know, and honestly, if I didn't have YouTube TV, I'd probably be one of them. They watch everything from phone and tablets.
Yeah.
So like your cable, well, you get the local teams. Listen, how many people really watch the local team? Most people are transplant from here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just think the world just continuously, we're moving there at a fast pace, and people, all of a sudden one day you're going to realize, hey, the only thing that the Comcast and all of them got left is internet. And then something will come along to take that away. Like it's just nature of the beast and times, man.
Yeah. I do understand, though, that not wanting to go to Apple with the details of that deal and what that would look like. But turning down ESPN for $31 million a year, that was a tough, I don't get that one.
Yeah, Apple to me, because I'm everything I have is Apple, right? So I'm not a good example, but that's not the majority, right? People get pissed off when there's a new show on Apple, TV Plus or something they can't watch because there's a ton of Android users out there that are just not there, so having it be something more ubiquitous, like a ESPN makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I get why like I said, I understand the Apple turning that down, and we are yes, everything's going to streaming, but if you look, people are trying to cut the amount of streaming that they have. They're trying to kind of consolidate. That would be another add-on for them to pay more, which people are trying not to do. So I get that one. ESPN, though, they probably should have taken that offer. I think now that they've turned that down, I don't think the Pac-12 survives at this point. Especially,
no,
these last 4 teams, it's over.
And I don't even know where they would have to go close another conference down so I just don't know where they go. Like I said, the Mountain West, I would try to Cal, Stanford, I don't know why everybody isn't on Stanford. I mean, they win national championships, especially your swimming and volleyball. I mean, they have great athletics and the high learning of the high institution of learning and all that. Like Stanford has a lot to offer, and why people aren't hopping on them, really why the Big Ten didn't take them too is because they kind of fit the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially wrong. From a football, when I think Stanford, I mean, AJ, again, you lived closer. When I think Stanford, big offensive line, big defensive lines, I mean, that's kind of been Big Ten football. You know what I mean?
I didn't live close to Stanford, but to your point, I think Stanford University has the most NCAA division wins amongst all sports. Yeah. Right? I think their total championships of 134 across men's and women's all sports.
Yeah, they're men's sports, women's sports. I mean, I don't think they have a training sports league yet, but if they did, they control that. I mean, Stanford just has really good programs. What? Oh, did I say something?
Nah, that's good. Only we need to elaborate.
Look at this. All three top, California schools on the top three: Stanford, UCLA, and USC.
But there is like a championship cup or whatever for whatever school wins the most national championships for the year. And haven't they won that like 3-4 years in a row?
Yeah, something like that.
So, I mean, like, again, football, they stink. But look, they didn't. You can, listen, Stanford and then what's going on at San Jose State, if you get the right coach, and you get the university to actually support the coach. I mean, look what Harbaugh did. You know, he had Brian Shaw as a coordinator. Look what Harbaugh did with Stanford, right? Yeah. Look what's going on at San Jose State. Like, you can win.
Absolutely.
You just got to really be bought into how it's going to go. I mean, I think Stanford's just a great school. Now, Cal, I mean, but look at Cal. I mean, you got they had Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff. Like, they've produced some talent. Now, they've stunk for over a decade. But I mean, it's not
a rough patch. They'll pick it up.
I mean, it's not like it's not like the school totally stinks. I mean, in Washington and Washington State, Oregon State, they're respectable. I mean, they're good in other sports too. I mean, Oregon State baseball is phenomenal. You know, Washington State volleyball, that's been great. Like, so why the Pac-12 doesn't say, okay, we got to keep these four and merge with the Mountain West, or, you know, all these independents that are just hanging out there, maybe try to bring some of it in it. They're just, I feel like they're content with dying, which makes
like the ACC.
Which makes just no godly sense to me. I can't understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I think there's a lot of people it doesn't make sense to. And especially if you look, like we talked about, I think on the last episode, how good Pac-12 football is going to be this year.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of really good teams. The conference is going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. It's sad that this will be the last year we get it, but I mean, the conference had a lot of potential. And they've just, I think, inaction is going to kill them, just like eventually it's going to kill the ACC. We talk about it on here all the time. I think you have other conferences that are making moves to solidify themselves, to strengthen their conferences, and then you have a couple of these big ones that just think they can sit around and not do anything and survive. I think that's being proven to not be the case. So, unfortunate for sure. All right, boys. Here it is. The first full college football game slate breakdown of the year.
Yes.
It's here. It's fine. It's what we've been waiting on. The dog days of summer are over. College football is back. How excited are we? I know I'm pumped.
I'm ready to go.
I've missed it so much.
So much.
I know, watching the Irish this weekend, I was like, God, it's back. Thank God. Football just makes everything better. All right, John Boy, we're going to kick this thing off. I think this is going to be an interesting game. We're going to get an idea of what the prime-led Colorado team is going to look like. I was going to possibly go down to Texas and get tickets for this game, but then I looked at the weather and it's going to be the surface of the sun. So I said, you know what? I'll pass. Colorado at TCU. TCU laying 21.5 at home. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. But, Colorado's only got 3 returning starters, right? So, that's a little bit of a it's on the Upits day. So, I mean, however, TCU, TCU, you lose Max Duggan, right? You lose both of your wide receivers that were really, really special. And so it's hard for me to subscribe and say, okay, this TCU team, I get they were in the national championship game, which they got boat raced. We had Georgia for a triple unit, right? It's hard for me to see them repeating with only 3 offensive starters. And, now they do get that defense back. But I think the other big thing that isn't being talked about is them losing their offensive coordinator, Riley. He went to Clemson, which I really think that makes Clemson look a whole lot different. I'm just not sold on Cade Klubnik yet, right? He hasn't. He only played 2 games, hasn't did enough for me. TCU, the fact that they're going to roll into this thing with quarterback Chandler Morris, again, Savion Williams, the wide receiver, and they got the 2 tackles back. Left tackle Brandon Coleman, right tackle Andrew Coker. TCU, again, they were really dynamic last year, but I know Colorado's totally overhauled. It does scare me a little bit. Because while I was watching the Texans Saints preseason game last night on Fox, I don't know if you guys saw this, but they got the preview with Prime and can one man. Did you see the?
I didn't. I'm gonna have to.
You haven't saw these commercials?
Nah.
Fox is hyping this thing up for viewership, right? So that scares me a little bit. It really does scare me. But listen, at Colorado last year. And we know how bad Colorado was.
They were pretty bad.
And we know how great TCU was. Right?
Yep, they were.
Last year at Colorado, 38-13. So they won by 25 at Colorado. Granted, it's at Colorado. Now you're at home against TCU. TCU is always a tough place to play there in Fort Worth. But I just feel like I have a hard time wrapping around my head that Prime is going to get blown out.
Yeah.
That's just really hard for me to subscribe to. So a free play is definitely going to be Colorado plus the 21.5. I'm going to give it out to everybody, but I'm not going to give out a bunch of free plays like I did last year because, look, it's not fair to the guys that pay. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for me to give out free plays or, I did this during baseball and basketball, workout deals for guys. And not that I don't want to help people, but look, man, I got a couple guys betting 10 grand a game and paying a lot of money. It's just not fair. Right.
No,
so
I get that.
We're not going to have as many free plays. But free plays last year were 69.3% during football. So, whatever. But Colorado plus 21.5, I'm going to give that out to everybody. Again, it's hanging around 21, so you might have to buy the hook. I like the hook there, but I just have a hard time. I have a hard time believing that Prime in Colorado is going to get blown out. What says you guys?
I would agree. I think we just don't know what Colorado. We have our expectations. I think they're going to be much, much improved because I think he's going to bring that winning culture. I think he's going to push those boys to play. And Colorado needs that. They kind of need that tough love that I feel like he's going to give that team. And just for a little context, I think I sent you this, but we'll read through it. Colorado will have 86 new players on its roster this year, the most by any FBS team in a season since the transfer portal began in 2018. The 53 transfers added are also the most in FBS this season. So 86 total new players, 53 transfers. We just don't know. Now, knowing Prime, I do find it hard that he's going to get blown out We do know what TCU was last year. They were fantastic. Offensive production was great, but you lose Duggan. You lose most of that offense. We don't really know what they're going to look like. They have a good defense. That's going to help. I think there's a lot of unknown here. I expect this game to probably be a little closer than people think. I do.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with Colorado plus the 21.5. I've liked it the whole time. Again, now, do I think that you may see some physicality difference from TCU?
Mm-hmm.
But again, TCU, I mean, to only have 3 defensive guys come back, and I think this game has the makings of a much low scoring game than what people think.
Yep, I would agree with that. I think, like I said, I think this will be a little closer. It's first game of the season. These teams are going to feel each other out a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of unknowns, like I said, for both sides. Obviously, for Colorado, there's a lot, but there's going to be a lot for TCU. Lose a lot of defense, lose a lot of offense. So I'm excited to watch this one. I think this will end up being a good game. And if you look at the ticket prices for this game, I think they're going to sell that place out. A lot of excitement around this.
Oh, yeah.
Game,
I mean,
that'll
listen,
be interesting.
I think, 12, I mean, what is that, 12 o'clock kickoff? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be watching that game.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be watching that one for sure. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. NC State at UConn. NC State laying 15.5 on the road.
Yeah, that's on Thursday. I think this has the chance to be a really sneaky good game, to be honest with you. NC State had a really good year last year, but they fell short of expectations there, right?
It did.
Really, quarterback got hurt. They kind of got tripped up there towards the end of the season, and it really, really hurt them. But listen, 5 offensive, 5 defensive starters back. Dave Doran back, 72 and 54 is 10 years now. Jack Plummer is going to be the quarterback. Not Jack Plummer. Brennan Armstrong from UVA comes over the transfer, the lefty. I like him coming back. Jordan Houston, the running back, comes back. But having Brennan Armstrong, he had moments at UVA where he looked really, really good.
He did.
But UVA just got in they were just such a bad team that had so much negative stuff going on. Obviously, Charlottesville about an hour and a half down the road from me. So NC State, their defense is always tough under Doran. But look, they play UConn. Jim Mora had the great year last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Connecticut really, really got that team turned around, and they come back. 16 starters, 6 offense, 3 defense, and you can't forget the kicker and the punter kickers.
Nah, can't forget those. They matter.
Can't forget those. Now, Taquan Robertson, new quarterback, he comes in, but look, they get Victor Rosa back at running back. He was electric last year, averaging 6.2 yards per carry. They really are going to have to rely heavy on the transfer portal. They brought in Harrison and Flynn, the wide receivers, Marion and Fitzgerald. So they got some things to work through on offense. But listen, it's something that I always like, and I tell you guys this when I'm breaking down games and all. What do you have coming back on the offensive and defensive line? Because I still believe games are won in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, they got the left tackle, the left guard, the right tackle. So the only thing that isn't back from last year is the center. When you have 4 returning offensive linemen, 2 juniors, 2 seniors, I really like that. And then on defense, the whole defensive line's back. Again, 8 of those 11 defensive starters are back, Yates, 11.5 sacks last year. So I think they got a chance to be really good. I think that's as much as NC State is maybe the better team. I think that's way too many points to be laying towards the Huskies. I want to see how the line moves, but I definitely see leaning on the Huskies there. Plus up to 15.5 now. So
15.
That's a small lean. Don't know if it's going to be a play, but to me, I don't think you can lay points on the road with NC State getting Armstrong acclimated, new quarterback. I just think there's some barriers there.
I like UConn in this game. I like them at home. Like I said, returning a nice core. They were great last year. I mean, for them, they had a hell of a year, rock star year. NC State gonna have some new pieces in. I lean towards UConn here, especially at home. I think this ends up being a fairly close game. I think this could be 7-10 point game. I don't necessarily think this is a 2-touchdown game. Not getting a new quarterback acclimated, and then just how much UConn's returning, how well coached they were last year, returning a ton. Yeah, I would lean towards the Huskies here for sure. All right, next one we have also on Thursday, and this is going to be a good game. Looking forward to this one. Florida at Utah. Utah laying 7 at home.
Yeah, so the problem here with Utah, which you don't know right now, is it's kind of up in the air. Is Cam Rising going to play? You know, this line crept up to 9. It went down to 4.5 over the weekend, and I was like, no. But now it's crept back up to 7. So I don't know if you guys got any information on it. I haven't heard anything about it. Florida, I think it's going to be a really tough year for the Gators. They got 9 starters back, 4 offense, 3 defense, and again, the punter, the kicker. But you lose Richardson, the quarterback. Obviously, he got drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. And then, you know, Florida, to replace him, you know, Billy Napier, I really like what he did when he was at Louisiana Lafayette. But I don't know if he's going to get the time needed. Like, Florida's should be a really easy place to recruit. But Florida's really went through kind of an identity crisis. Don't you? I mean, AJ, I know you're a big Tennessee guy and SEC, but I feel like, because when I was growing up, and maybe again, it was those Urban Meyer years when they had Tebow and Aaron Hernandez with AK-47s, and, you know, the Gators were just chomping people to death. Even with Chris Leak, remember him? Like, but I feel like they're in such, you know, it's funny. Florida and Miami are like, it's like they're in an identity crisis and they can't get the necessary tools to put it together.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely in like a transitional period of their kind of school history right now. You know, I mean, look, and they play in the SEC, it's super tough, but it's, you know, every team that has to go down to Gainesville to play them, you know, they got to be ready, because that's even with where they're at right now, it's not an easy place to go play.
No, the Swamp. I'd love to watch a game there.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard the atmosphere is super electric. Tennessee has to go down there this year, so that's going to be big if they can actually win down there. Obviously, last year beat them for the first time in years and years, which was great, but, you know, it doesn't really mean anything to me unless you can beat them in the Swamp. So I think they're still a super tough team, but I think we're going to see them start to kind of, you know, break out above the herd a little bit this year. I think they're going to be quite a bit better and start moving in the right direction for sure, even though they lost Richardson, which... you know, I think they're still going to be in good shape for sure.
I guess I just don't have the confidence in Graham Mertz. Like, watching him at Wisconsin, like, I just don't know if I just didn't see. I don't see a guy, like, if you struggle in the Big Ten, I don't know how he translates to Florida, because again, the SEC, though it's, you know, was always based on big lines defense, and it still is. You still got to go out and outsling Joe Milton. You still got to go out and outsling Jalen Daniels. You still got to go out and play Nick Saban's D, Kirby Smart's D at Georgia. Even though they're not any good, you know Kentucky's defense under Stoops is always going to be legit. Like, they might struggle to score. You know, Vanderbilt shows flashes these past 2 years of, you know, trying to, you got to outgun Lane Kiffin's offense. Like, I just don't know if he's that guy. No, he's not that guy. That's my only issue with the Gators. But they always have great skill guys, right? Like, I mean, they always have speed galore on the perimeter.
For sure. So the last note that I see here, Cam Rising was listed as the starter, but there's been some question marks around whether or not that'll happen. Obviously, with him, tore an ACL last year. Tough injury to come back from. if you're Utah, do you kind of start him out slow, getting back, feeling comfortable again? I mean, ACL injuries, obviously they're kind of routine anymore for these players, but Utah, do you take your time? Are you very cautious? And do you not start him, or do you only play maybe some in this game, getting back, getting him a feel? But right now he is listed as the starter. There are a lot of questions swirling on whether that's legit or not.
Well, look, I think Utah, one, they always have a really good defense. Two, that's a tough place to go in and win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not just the stadium and the kids but the altitude and all that. Like, that's a really tough place to play. And look, one thing's for sure, Utah likes to do a lot of read option with Cam Rising.
They do.
They like to have him running. You're not going to be able to do that, especially Florida's speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think even without Cam Rising, I think that Utah can run the ball enough. Again, those big linemen, they're used to that. I think they're going to lean on Florida. But am I laying 7 or 10 points? No, that doesn't mean I would take Florida. I don't see any type of scenario, even if Rising doesn't play, where I could take the Gators and Mertz. I can't. Now, we had Florida last year, and it worked out, but that was Florida at home with Richardson, getting points at home, getting points on the road in the altitude, first game of the year against the 12th ranked team in the country. Just the dynamics are much different than it was when we had Florida last year. Remember, everybody loved Utah. It was like 83% of the money was on Utah. We gave out Florida. It was an easy winner, right? So I just don't see. The only thing I could see here is if I know for a fact Rising's going to play, okay, I could see a little, let me take Utah money line and parlay him with a little, maybe Washington Tulane action, something like that. Let me find a 3-team money line parlay that's around even, from plus 120 to minus 120, something like that, just to sneak an easy win, put some cash in. That's the only way I could see that happening.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree there. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. Nebraska at Minnesota. Minnesota laying 7.5 at home. Obviously, Nebraska, the expectations are that they're going to be better. Couldn't be much worse. Got a new coach. What do we think we get out of Nebraska this year?
Well, I think this game's more about Minnesota. They got 9 returning starters, 4 offense, 4 defense, and the punter. They don't have a kicker. But
you
they
dogged Minnesota hard last year, and they played well.
Because you know what? They broke my heart so many times. But they lose Ibrahim, the running back. They lose Tanner Morgan, the quarterback.
Guys, I have a great idea, too, for a shirt here. It's something I said last week, and I think we need to put it on a T-shirt. Hell hath no fury like a gambler scorned. We have to get a shirt. AJ,
I like it.
Got to do it. Because John, if you break his heart, he will never forget it.
Whatever. Yeah, that is a good one, though. I got to give it to you.
That's a good one.
So Minnesota, I think Minnesota's going to struggle. I really do. I mean, when you lose, look, Tanner Morgan, the quarterback, and they had Bateman. Of course, they didn't have him last year, but, there for that couple of years, excuse me, you had Tanner Morgan, Bateman, and Ibrahim. Ibrahim was a phenomenal running back. So Minnesota's got all new offense pretty much. Nebraska, they were god-awful, but let me tell you something.
They were pretty bad. Yeah.
And Matt Rule, I made a lot of fun of Matt Rule at Carolina. I really gave Matt Rule a hard time because
you did.
But listen, Matt Rule's not an NFL coach. However, Matt Rule is a hell of a college coach.
Yep.
Because when you can take Temple from nothing to a bowl game and you resurrect Baylor as quickly as you did, I expect him to do the same thing at Nebraska.
I would agree with that.
I still got to believe in my mind, and you've seen it with USC, but like Nebraska, Miami, it's just about finding the right coach. He goes, well, you can't recruit based off of what they did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Bull jive. I think you can get the boosters behind you. You just got to have the right coach, and you have to have you have to know what you are and what you aren't. Like, don't waste your time on a recruiting trip when you know you're going in behind Kirby Smart and behind you is Prime. Right? That's a waste of a trip. So focus in on what you need, right? The Midwest have the best offensive and defensive linemen. Has been that way for years. Look at Wisconsin. Look at Iowa. Build the trenches, okay? And then all you got to do is find a quarterback. And there's a ton of them out there.
Yep.
Right? And then the transfer portal. So I think Matt Rule is going to do a lot of good things. Now, listen, I got to see it first, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hop on them this first game. But how Minnesota is laying 8, there is no way. I mean, I get it. Minnesota's a tough place to play, yada, yada, yada. There's no way I'm laying 8. Not with Minnesota. I mean, that makes no sense to me. I think these two teams by the end of the year, Nebraska could have a better record.
Yeah, it's possible.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think Nebraska might look, coming out the gates, but I think by the end of the year, they really get to where they need to. Again, I believe in Matt Rule as a college coach. I've seen him turn around 2 programs both very quickly. Mm-hmm. Again, the NFL is not for everybody. It's like Chip Kelly. NFL's not for you. Right?
Great college coach, though.
Yeah, that's not a knock on anybody at all. Like, listen, Nick Saban struggled at Miami. He's the greatest college football coach of all time. Nobody can argue. Yep. So, like, it's not a knock. It's just, like, I think that's a great hire for Nebraska, and I think Matt Rule's going to do a lot of great things. And as much as I beat him up when he was in Carolina for looking punch drunk, I'm pulling for the guy because I think he's going to – if he can't turn Nebraska around, they're going to have to get John the Baptist and St. Peter. That's their last hope.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was excited to see him go to Nebraska. I think as a football fan, you want to see Nebraska play well, right? It's
college football's better
when it's more fun when Nebraska is good. So I really hope he turns the program around. I was excited to see them hire him. I think you spoke it perfect, which was he's not an NFL coach. A lot of coaches aren't, but he is a phenomenal college coach. And so I'm excited to see what Nebraska can do. I would like to see them come back to life and be relevant in college football. I think it'd be good for everyone. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. Virginia at Tennessee. Tennessee laying 28 at home. Ooh, poor Virginia. I think this is going to be a tough one.
Listen, Virginia's in a lot of trouble. You know, they got Bronco Mendenhall from BYU a couple years. I really thought that was going to help them turn the corner. Then he retired. Virginia's just in a really bad place. Now, again, I'm not laying 28, even though I think Tennessee is a college football playoff team. I think Joe Milton will be in the Heisman run. But this game is actually at Bristol Motor Speedway, right? Am I correct on that? Are they doing that again?
Hold on.
No. I think it's at Nissan Stadium, Nashville.
Oh, it's in Nashville at Nissan.
It's in Nashville, yeah.
Gotcha. Because they did that, or no, that was Virginia Tech and Tennessee that did Bristol Motor Speedway, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, why they don't do that every year is beyond me. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Yeah, Nissan.
But listen, the fact that if it was at Neyland, all right, but I'm not laying 28, but there is no situation in the world where you're going to give me a take Virginia. I'm just not going to do it.
John's going to get a wild hair and text out, guys, I love Virginia.
Nope. I am not a Virginia believer. No, I can guarantee you. Look, I can guarantee you that as much as I can guarantee my love for Dolan. Listen, it is not happening. Not happening. But I'm not laying 28 either. Again, I think Tennessee's going to look great. I think this is a good tune-up game. Because, listen, we saw this with USC. I mean, I think Caleb Williams is the best player. Yeah, granted, San Jose State's a much better team than people think. A lot of people don't know about San Jose State. They don't know that they were the Mountain West defending champions. They don't know about Will Cordero, the 6th-year senior, right? Mm-hmm. Again, that's part of the reason you need a guy like me. But what I'm saying is Tennessee, I can see them starting slow. But look, they score in such a hurry. Virginia can't score. So,
problem.
I can very easily see this being 52-13, but it's a just explosion in one. But it's not enough. 28's way too. You will never, ever, 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 ever catch me laying 28 points. Won't happen.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Why? I did it too many times in the past and lost.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. Ohio State at Indiana. Ohio State laying 31 points on the road. You gotta like Indiana in this spot, don't you?
Well, you would think, but then they only got 3 offensive and 2 defensive returners. So
how was the transfer portal? They played well last year.
Well, you don't know.
31 though.
Tavian Jackson had his freshman red shirt last year. He's going to play quarterback. Here's the one thing that scares me about that is Ohio State is still going to have a good defense. They always do.
Yeah.
So, Ohio State's going to play all 3 quarterbacks. I don't think they're as good as everybody giving them this number 3 ranking. I think that's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I don't agree with that
everybody
either.
loves Ohio State. When you only got 5 guys returning, now granted, Indiana didn't play well last year, but you only got 2 offensive lines coming back. They got both of these quarterbacks, even though they're young, they can run it and throw it. So I think Indiana's got some dynamics and some good pieces. But I will say this again, there's just do's and don'ts. 31's a lot on the road, week 1. I tell you what, I would have loved Indiana had that Notre Dame game been week 2. Because who's Ohio State play week 2? Presbyterian or Baptist Bible College.
Yeah, maybe. Gotta be careful with Baptist Bible College.
Des Moines, Iowa's beauty school.
No, because they play Indiana week 1, and then they play Youngstown State week 2, and then they ramp it up and get Western Kentucky in week 3.
Well, the Hilltoppers can score.
Yeah.
They won't that game.
They're going to get out a lot of aggression before they get to Notre Dame week 4. So
yeah. So and listen, Ohio State 7 offense, 5 defense. But listen, the Ohio State, even though Ohio State's trying to figure out the quarterback situation, running back Travion Henderson, we remember how much of a beast he was. He's back. Yeah. And then Marvin Harrison Jr.,
he's good.
Julian Fleming. Those wide receivers, Cabe Stover, the big tight end that played so well. So, and
they beat them 56-14 last November. So,
yeah, they beat them at home by 42. Now you just, it's a stay away for me.
All right. We'll jump to the next one then. Boise State at Washington.
Gun to my head, I would hold my nose and jump in the ocean with Indiana. But
yeah,
I'm not a good swimmer, so I'll just watch the dolphins fly out there.
That made 0 sense, but we'll move on to the next one. Boise State at Washington. Washington laying 14.5 at home.
Well, look, my guy's playing. My guy, Michael Penix Jr. from Indiana. I just look at this and I say Washington, they're going to roll here. But Boise State, the quarterback of Boise State, I like this kid. This kid's dynamic. This kid's got the goods. They struggled till they put him in last year. But again, Washington with Michael Penix is where it's at. I'll just be interested to see, 7 offensive, 7 defensive. But only the problem with the offense returning for Washington is they only got the 2 tackles back. Left tackle Troy Fatuna and then Rosengarten on the right side. But the wide receiving corps all back, McMillan, Polk, Odunza. So they got some dudes. And then defensively, their defense, I think, is going to be really, really good. But can that defense complement the offense enough, right? Washington's going to score points. Can the defense hold up against your Oregons, your USCs, your UCLAs, because we know Chip Kelly's team put up points. So that's really going to be the thing that, okay, can we get where it needs to be? And that'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see what does offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. He did a really nice job last year with Michael Penix. How can he, because everybody knows when you go to play Washington now, you got a Heisman type caliber player at quarterback. Yep. So I think he's going to get a lot of different looks, right? Boise State's defense is always tough. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would lay Washington's going to win the game. I don't think I would lay 14.5, even though it's at Washington, which is a tough place to play.
Could that Washington be a teaser candidate?
No, because I'm not teasing down to 7.5. When you tease, you got to get under key numbers. So for me, like people, it's -10. Oh, I'm going to tease it down to -3. Why? Some books you lose on a push. I got to get below 3 if I tease somebody.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you. And it's wide receiving core, not corpse, you idiot.
Well, yes, some of these teams, it's corpses. And just another thing you said about teasers. Listen, just a huge disclaimer, and I gave one out, and it reminded. See, sometimes you got to do something stupid to remind yourself of your rules of why you don't do it. Because I gave out that teaser, Ohio, which covered with New Mexico State, just to win. New Mexico State just had to beat a school that's won like one game in 3 years.
Yeah, I don't think that was a bad play.
But it's a reminder. You cannot bet teasers in college football. You just cannot do it. And this is the reason why. How many times have you seen Alabama up 40 with less than a minute to go, and they're still running the ball to get in the end zone?
Yeah, it's true.
College, there is no call. How often do you see a knee taken in college football?
Hardly ever.
How often do you see them work the clock to just get the game over with in college football?
Nah, it doesn't happen.
Yep.
Teasers only work in the NFL, and a lot of people are like, teasers. If you tease the right teams, tease dogs. Stop teasing these. Oh, well, I got under the key number of 7. Listen, 85% of the NFL games come down to the last 3 minutes. I've said this over and over and over again. It doesn't matter how it happens. Doesn't matter. Throw the records out the window. Last year when we had the Texans on Thursday Night Football hosting the Eagles, everybody was like, how in the world can we play that game? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you saw what happened. Texans covered, right?
Yep.
So NFL is different. College, do not play teasers in college. It does not work. You may get away with it once, but over the long haul, you're going to lose. College teasers do not work.
Okay. All right. Jump to the next one here.
And if you play one after that speech, you're just stupid.
Now we play some. We are very selective in college, but we do play a few every now and then.
Done. Nothing up for you.
Yeah, okay. We'll see how that goes. All right, UT Martin at Georgia. They don't even have a line for this one. It's just like, nah.
Probably going to be 57.5.
Jesus.
For the first half line.
For the first half line. I mean, UT Martin's going to make some money here, so great for their program.
Great. Well, they'll get to stay open. Thanks, Georgia, for all your kind things you do.
But
let's just anoint Georgia, the savers of Tennessee Martin.
Hey, it'll be interesting to see, though. Georgia, how good are they? Do they come out and look great? Do they come out and, there's a lot of question marks that lost a lot of people. So be interesting to see what they actually look like.
Georgia's always
our next Appalachian
they're always
State,
going to have a great defense, and they got 2 of those tight ends back. So,
yeah. We'll jump to the next one then. Tennessee State at Alabama. 39.5 at home. Uh-oh. He's got that look in his eye.
Not because AJ's on here. However, Middle Tennessee State's a little intriguing because last year, and I just want to pull this up, make sure I don't overspeak here. But when I was looking at this, not last year, but the year before, didn't Middle Tennessee State hang in there against them?
I thought it was last year. Maybe it was year before.
Yeah. So anyway,
MTSU though, they've been pretty tough last couple of years.
They're a tough. They got 5 offensive, 7 defensive back. But last year No, it was Miami. They went and beat 45-31. Yeah. And then the Hawaii Bowl, they beat San Diego State 25-23. But you look at it on the other part, they had at James Madison to kick off the year last year, they lost 44-7. So, look, I can't lay 39.5. But, if this thing got up to 42, I'd have to tinker with Tennessee State. Yeah. But no play.
All right. So we'll jump to the next one. Nevada at USC. USC laying 38 at home. Ton of points here.
Yeah, Nevada blows, though, man. God, they're so bad. I mean, God, listen.
Hey, don't pull any punches. Tell us how you really feel.
Listen, they blow like a homeless crackhead in San Francisco looking for one more hit. I mean, God bless, they're bad. So, Jesus. There's no way I can hop out there with them.
He can't even recover from that.
What?
We've lost Josh.
What?
He's
what? What's wrong? What are you doing? What are you laughing? We're running a show here.
Well, if you wouldn't say insane things.
What's insane? I mean, that's how bad they blow.
I've lost his video even. I don't even know where he went.
I got you. Yeah. It's all good.
Why does it have to be San Francisco? Why are you always
San
Francisco?
Right?
Well, I mean, have you saw that place lately? It's like a war zone.
I'll be there in a couple weeks.
Come on, there's crackheads all over the place. Come on,
listen, San Francisco is really, it's really ruined it for me because it's a place I've always wanted to go. And I mean, when you look at the streets and they were talking about like how they're just robbing, like you got kids walking down the street. I mean, it's bad, man. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah,
and it's
I've heard.
San Francisco should be one of the 5. Look, Full House, with the bridge.
It's beautiful there on the water. I mean, we were there last year. I will say, Salesforce is based out of San Francisco, and they have that big Dreamforce conference there every year. So it was, when we were there last year, it was very clean and tidy. I think they did that on purpose, kind of clean things up before 50,000 people came in there for that thing. So I don't know if that's the most accurate representation of what that city looks like when there's not 50,000 extra people hanging out there for work. But I mean, it's beautiful there on the water. Yeah, I mean, from the little bit I saw, it looked like a cool place. So
you know what they should do with the old
Coliseum?
You know what they should do with the old Coliseum once the A's move? They should make a big homeless facility.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, why don't they just let them, take over the the folks that live there. They just move right in, right? Like that's what they were talking about too. Was it San Francisco where they're like, you should open up your homes or something like that, or if you have an extra spare room or something,
What?
Yeah, they were like, I think it was San Francisco, and they're like, if you have spare room, or maybe it was for the migrants, I can't remember, but yeah, not a bad idea. I mean, they can hang out with the possums, so
yeah.
Or the raccoon. What is it? Possum or raccoon?
Possum.
It's possum. It's a possum. Yeah. Old posse.
Yeah.
All right. So
that thing's on. Listen, that possum in Oakland's on as many steroids as Canseco was at his time at Oakland. I mean, both of those things are just jacked.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right. So obviously we went way off track here. Nevada USC. Obviously Nevada not very good.
Yeah.
38 though for USC's a lot of points.
Yeah, I don't want any parts of it. I'm not stepping in front of USC.
Then what'd you put it on here to talk about?
Well, I mean, because it was a big game. Everybody wants to hear about USC, but they're going to roll. But you can't take Nevada is horrible.
Yeah,
right. But when you have the 6th ranked team in the country, you got to talk about them. Look, USC. I mean, if they went 56-28. I mean, they're probably going to cover that number again. There's no way I'm laying 38. I'm just saying Nevada is horrific.
I think you made that
really
clear.
Struggling.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next one, West Virginia at Penn State. Penn State laying 21 at home.
That's too many points.
I like West Virginia here. I like the Mountaineers. Obviously, I'm wearing the West Virginia hat today.
I don't know if I like West Virginia. Listen, Penn State's ranked like 5th, 6 offense, 7 defense.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be that high.
Drew Aller, the sophomore quarterback. But listen, I can't subscribe to this. I can't. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who paid money for that ranking because you had to pay money to get it. I don't see it. I think they've had a lot better teams at Penn State than this team. How this team is getting so much pub, I'm sorry, guys. I don't see it. They're going to have to. And again, listen, this team is not better than the Trace McSorley, Saquon Barkley teams. No way. No way. Now, look, West Virginia, 5 offense, 6 defense, the punter, Garrett Green, the junior quarterback. I mean, they got 4 of the 5 offensive linemen back. That's going to be their strength. New offensive coordinator, Chad Scott. He comes over from Purdue. So, I don't. There's just no way. There's no way I'm laying 21 with Penn State.
That's a lot.
Now, I'm not taking West Virginia because I don't think West Virginia is going to be very good either. I mean, they were 5-7 last year, and I think there's a really good chance they're going to be worse this year than they were last year.
Really?
But I think West Virginia is in a weird transition phase. I think, and I think Neil Brown is going to be gone after this year. This is his 5th year there. He really hasn't gotten it done. West Virginia's been on kind of this slow decline the past couple of years. Ironically, since Geno Smith left. Can't believe I'm even saying that. But West Virginia, they're just not. But again, Penn State laying 21. Yeah, I'll pass. Now that's a big NBC game, isn't it? Yeah, that's a 7:30 NBC game. So there'll be a lot of eyes on it. And again, anytime James Franklin, you put more eyes on him, it doesn't work out well.
All right, next one we have North Carolina at South Carolina. North Carolina laying 2.5 on the road. I think this is going to be a good game. Now we know North Carolina's going to score, but they also don't know how to play defense. So South Carolina's going to score. So this should be interesting.
Yeah, this one is at Panther Stadium, Bank of America Stadium there in Charlotte. A neutral site, quote unquote, but really a home game for the Tar Heels. They're right down the road. But listen, I like if this thing goes to 3 and I can get to 3.5, South Carolina, I think, could be the play here. Spencer Rattler, what Beamer did with that South Carolina team, I'm telling you. Now, listen, they only got 4 starters coming back, right? But they did a lot of work through the transfer portal. But I think South Carolina is going to be a handful for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I agree.
I really think, and I don't think North Carolina is any good. I mean, look, I know you got Drake May.
They can score.
But can you, disclaimer on that, but can you score against SEC type defenses?
Yeah. We'll see.
I haven't seen that yet. I just think, like I said, if I can get more than a field goal, I would be really intrigued with South Carolina. I really would. I think South Carolina could be a play. We got to see how the line moves throughout the week and all that. Mm-hmm. Man, this just quick spin. Watching TV, or got TV going here. Dallas Giants just moved to Dallas -4. That line just keeps creeping up. Jets line moved to 2.5. It was 1.5 last week. A lot of Buffalo money coming in. They must have saw that Jets offensive line.
Not good. All right, we'll look at the next one here. Toledo at Illinois. Illinois laying 9.
Holy Toledo! Miss Bielema's back.
Oh, God, no. Please, no. I forgot. How did I forget? I don't know, but I forgot.
Never mind.
I haven't even seen a picture of this lady.
What?
Well, I don't go stalking other people's wives and or girlfriends like you.
Pull it up.
Really not high on my priority list.
Pull it up. AJ, do you know who I'm talking about?
The wife. What's her last? How do you spell their last name again?
Bielema. Bill.
That's not how you spell it, you idiot. How do you spell it? Bielema. Well, that's not how you spell it. Nice job.
How do you pronounce it? No. I don't even know how well you would even guess how to spell that. But
if you just type in Brett Bielema wife, it'll kind of spell check it for you.
Well, How do you know that? Because you probably
Yes, I
did
did Google it. Want some action shots?
Jen,
weirdo.
first thing comes up. Jen Hellsberg Bielema, Arkansas coach Brett Bielema's
Yeah.
wife.
Told you, I'm not the only guy. Everybody's like,
First thing on Google when you type
There
in
you
Brett
go.
Bielema.
See,
I
Google
just started
knows
with his
what's up.
name.
Google knows
Such
what's
a
going.
creep, dude. Like,
It
and
was on Google.
and creeping on other people's wives is.
It
just
was
like, I feel
on
like
Google.
I feel like that is guy code no. Like,
And this website is sketchy. I think I'm gonna get a virus from this site if I stay on here. I need to.
it's probably why John's upload's so slow. All those viruses he's got on his laptop.
But
Searching
listen,
Brett Bielema's wife. Yeah.
It even said on Google, "hot wife."
Yeah. God, you're so weird. All right, back to the game.
Did y'all?
Toledo,
Y'all
at
still
Illinois.
haven't responded to it. Have you
Yeah, I
seen
saw the
pictures of
picture. She looks like a nice lady.
Yeah,
A nice
looks like
lady.
a lovely.
it? She looks like a smoke show, boys.
Such a creep, dude. Like, I just
That's
Yeah,
how all
hold on.
those. That's how all those fires start in California. She walked down the runway.
all right. Focus. Toledo at Illinois. Illinois laying 9 at home. How do we feel about the game?
Doesn't matter as long as she attends. Listen, I like Illinois. Listen, what Brett Bielema's did, for whatever reason, again, some schools just aren't fits, right? Like I know he went to the SEC and that didn't work out. There at Arkansas, he had some flashes, but never they could never turn the corner. Brett Bielema just fits in the Big Ten, right?
I'd agree with that. For sure.
He fits. Brett Bielema's a heck of a coach, man. You just look at him over there on the sidelines and you're like, dude, that's a football coach. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how you just look at some guys and be like, yeah, that guy, he's a football coach. And I love what he's did there. I think with Illinois, they got 14 starters back, 6 offense, 6 defense. Again, we always talk about offensive line. They got 3 of those back. Isaiah Williams, Pat Bryant, their wide receivers. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see here. They had new offensive coordinator Barry Lunny Jr. He really got it going last year. They have to replace Tommy DeVito, not Danny DeVito's grandson, and Chase Brown.
Weirdo.
So you got last night for the Cowboys. I saw.
Huh? Yeah.
He was getting a little playing time last night for the Cowboys.
He was getting a little run time. So now Luke, but here's the thing: they get Luke Altmaier, right? Which, if y'all remember, Luke Altmaier was the quarterback that came in there in the Sugar Bowl when Corral got hurt for Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting an SEC quarterback now, he's unproven, but I like what they're doing there. And again, I think the defense is going to be stout. They lost a lot in the secondary, but he was 8-5 last year. But all their games were close last year. All their games, but one were that they lost. Like they lost at Indiana 23-20. And then a lot of their wins were blowouts. I mean, they went to Wisconsin, blew out Iowa. They won 9-6. But Michigan State, they lost that by 8. Purdue by 7. At Michigan, they lost by 2. So all their losses were 1 point. Their 4 losses in the regular season were all by 1 score, right? And then the ones they won, they blew people out again. Danny DeVito's great-great-grandson and Chase Brown. I mean, Chase Brown's a beast at running back. You got to replace them, but I think with Luke Altmaier, I think Illinois is going to have a really, really good year. And I think they could mirror that record they had last year. I think they could mirror that. With that being said, I'm not really about laying 9. Toledo has a really good program. They always do things really well. They got 8 offensive, 7 defensive starters, and they got that beast quarterback, Daquan Finn, back. I think if I was going to play the game, I would take Toledo. But again, kind of to circle back, if Cam Rising's playing, again, maybe a little parlay, money line, Utah, Illinois, Washington. You got 3 favorites, 3 home teams.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sketchy whether they'll all cover the spread, but I think they all eke out the win.
All right.
I stand corrected, by the way. Tommy DeVito is actually on the Giants, not the Cowboys. So
No.
just in case anyone's fact checking me out there.
Yeah,
oh, look, they
fact
fact
checkers out there.
Listen, there's a lot of fact checkers because, like, I made that White Sox comment and I was like, yeah, they haven't did anything since they played the Astros in like 2003, 4, or 5. And I guess our clip just said 2003. So, like, everybody's like, they won the World Series in 2005. Shut the hell up. That's what I said.
And
still, they won a World Series in 2005. They're still irrelevant. Thanks for proving my point.
Yeah,
The lone White Sox fan with his little White Sox bear sitting in his He-Man underwear, scratching his balls, is fact-checking me. Get a job, dude. Yeah.
I messaged somebody back because they were like, they won it in 2005. And I was like, you do realize that was almost 2 decades ago, right? Like,
Nice.
it's been 18 years.
Yes.
They've
Thanks
done
for
nothing
proving my
since.
point. They still blow. I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Well,
now.
I think people, and I think we're all guilty of this, right? You hear 2005 and you're like, it's not too long ago. And then you're like, oh shit, it's almost 2 decades ago. So,
Yeah. Crazy.
I get it. It's crazy. All right.
Washington Commanders line has moved from 6 to
They are not
7.
the Commanders. They are the Redskins.
Redskins. Hey, I heard a rumor. What about, I guess we might get into this, but I heard a rumor that the Cardinals might be cutting Colt McCoy. They're really trying to finish last. Like, they're trying.
They're cutting Colt McCoy.
Yeah, I was like,
For
who's
what?
starting week 1? But then I saw they traded for Josh Dobbs. And listen, Isaiah Simmons to the Giants in that defense.
Yeah.
Why would the Cardinals, you just drafted the guy with the 6th pick like 2 years ago. I mean, Isaiah Simmons is a beast.
I did see that it looks like, rumors are swirling. Kyler Murray won't even suit up this year. He's not going to play at all.
I think this whole thing's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. All right, Northwestern at Rutgers. Rutgers laying 6.5 at home. Look at old Rutgers.
Listen, man, Northwestern, everything they went through with Pat Fitzgerald and apparently, the hazing, slapping guys on the booty with towels or whatever they were doing there.
Is that really what it was?
I don't know, man. I try to stay out of all that stuff.
They'll just piss you off.
Yeah, look, when I was in high school, I remember us, football for like freshmen that got on. Now, somehow I didn't get, hazed as a freshman, even though I started on varsity and all that. But then, like, my sophomore year and on, I remember like us tying players to trees naked. Right, like duct tape. Like it was like a party, and like we grabbed them, took their clothes off, duct taped them to the tree, and left like just 2 duct tapes and duct taped them to the tree out in the middle of nowhere. And the girls' cheerleaders, of course, they got poor kids are naked. Girls' cheerleaders would come up and just like put chocolate syrup all over them. And we'd go back and get them like 2 hours later.
Yeesh.
Yeah,
I always say, what
I
happens,
don't think we scarred anybody.
no. Surely not.
No, probably not.
What happens in a football locker room? I think a lot of people would really be concerned about their children. It get borders on homosexual, like almost by the minute,
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Might be.
Listen,
I just wonder how things are different now, because when I was growing up, it was. Man,
swirlies were a thing when I was in high school.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Listen, again, thankfully I was really good at football and basketball out in great old Lexington, Missouri there. So I didn't have to worry about it. So seniors just took to me, and I was like, okay, I'll just play my position. Yeah. So I never went through some of that stuff that some of the other kids went through, but man, some of them like just went through
hell.
And
That makes them tougher, though.
But listen, they all laughed about it. It was just nobody ever got hurt. Looking back on it, what I wouldn't give for somebody to duct tape me naked to a tree and have cheerleaders squirting chocolate syrup all over me. Gosh,
that's your dream of a Friday night, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Now that's frowned upon. It's kind of like, remember those old internet commercials with the baby where he's like, in the jail behind the crib, and he was like, apparently that's frowned upon. You remember that?
No.
And he was like, solitaire. I get it. Solitary or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Solitary.
Maybe it was
just
E-Trade.
cannot speak, can you?
Maybe it was E-Trade or something back in the day.
Yeah, maybe it was E-Trade. That actually sounds familiar. All right, we got to get back to this. All right, Oregon State at San Jose State. Oregon
Love
State
San Jose
17
State.
on the road.
No way, DJ Ulagale, Uwelele, Ugly Throwele should be laying 17.5 to anybody.
All right.
Listen, all San Jose State has to do is line the field with Dr. Pepper, and they'll pick him off 4 times.
I don't think that's how that works, but yeah, all right. All right, we're going to jump to the next one then. LSU at Florida State. LSU laying 2.5. I'm really excited for this game. I think it's going to be a great game. Probably game of the week.
Yeah,
How do we
LSU
feel this time? I think LSU gets it done here.
Listen, we lost a big triple unit to open the week last year, remember? We had a triple unit on LSU money line, and they did everything.
That was a mistake.
Well, listen, remember how this went. 2 missed field goals, a blocked field goal. 2 of those field goals were inside 25 yards.
And Brian Kelly looked lost.
A block punt. I mean, it was just a disaster. And Florida State still only won the game by what? 1, 2, 3. It was less than a field goal.
It was very, very close. Yeah.
So, and that was in the Superdome. Now so it was supposed to be a neutral site, but it was still right there at LSU. Same thing this year, supposed to be neutral site, but it's in Orlando. So not a very long drive for Florida State there. But I love LSU here.
Is the storm going to affect this game?
Well, it's indoors. Why would it?
Oh, okay.
I mean, drive to the game with windshield wipers on.
I didn't know.
Come on, people. Tough. We were just talking about Haven. Now we don't want people to drive with that.
I didn't know it was indoors.
I mean, put some of those. Look, Michelin.
But I mean, still, if categories
NASCAR guys drive in the rain now, I'm sure everybody else can manage to get to the stadium on the Disney bus.
We'll see. It's tough.
So,
man.
listen, I really like LSU here a lot. I mean, I think LSU is in the college football playoff. I think LSU is a top 4 team in the country.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
My personal John preseason ranking, I have them ranked number 3. I just really, really like LSU. I think they get this thing done. I'm not into laying 2.5 because I do think this will be a nail biter. So listen, something like 31-30, 24-23, 24-22, something stupid I can see. So I'm not laying points. LSU minus 140 for your lungs and a kidney.
I'm not doing that. No triple units to start the season, John.
We shall.
Let's ease into it.
No. Not doing that again. All right, we'll look at the Monday game here. Clemson at Duke. Clemson laying 12.5. Couldn't they have found a better game for Monday?
You say that, but I'm going to tell you something. I know the whole world is on Clemson, but be very, very careful, my friends. Clemson, 16 returning starters. Garrett Riley comes over, the offensive coordinator from TCU. We talked about that. 7 offense, 8 defense. But I still don't know about Cade Klubnik. I don't know if he's been clubbing or if he's been working on the field. So we'll see how that goes. But listen, Duke, 17 returning starters, 8 offense, 7 defense. Okay. Riley Leonard, the quarterback, comes back. They got the whole left side of the offensive line back. All their skill players are back. On defense, they returned the whole defensive line back. They got the kicker, the punter, both of those seniors. And then when you look at this, man, they didn't have to play Clemson last year, but Central Florida, that was supposed to be so great, they beat them 30-13 in the bowl game. And listen, this Duke team was 9-4 last year, and you got all that coming back.
Yeah.
And you're at home. Duke will never get an ESPN game again the rest of the year. I just would say tread lightly, because when's the last time in a big spot? Like, I really like Dabo Swinney. I'm a huge Dabo Swinney guy. And I think getting Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator from TCU, is going to change them dramatically. But AJ Chop, this ain't the same Clemson program with Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence that was blowing people out.
Yeah, true.
So 2 touchdowns on the road against a solid team isn't a slam dunk like it used to be.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Duke has any shot of winning the game. But all you need here is for Clemson to be up 17, 20 points and a late backdoor touchdown. Screw you. So I'm not interested in laying 12.5, 13 points.
Yeah.
Again, I think Clemson gets the win, but I think this game has the opportunity. I'm not taking Duke. I'm not betting Duke. I just think the game has the opportunity to be sneaky closer than people think.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, we are going to turn our attention to some quick NFL news here. Josh Jacobs has signed a 1-year deal. What, $12 million? So that got done.
John Stradamus was right again.
Yeah, you got one right every now and then. How we feel about this? Obviously, he's huge for the Raiders.
Yeah, he's huge for the Raiders. Look, I think the Raiders, Tom Brady gave the pregame speech to Jimmy G, tell him go out there and ruin their lives in the last preseason game. So Brady's already in preseason form in his all white pants, all white shirt, giving pregame press game talks to the team. Listen, the Raiders are going to probably look pretty good early. Jimmy G, all he does is win games. Now, he's like,
just has to stay healthy.
He's like Tua. He's not going to play every game. I mean, you just got to accept that.
We're back on the Tua bashing again.
But listen, when Jimmy G's out there, he wins like freaking 80% of his games. So, the Raiders are going to have their spots where they look good. They trip up teams. Like, if you ask me, hey, can you see the Raiders upsetting the Chiefs or Chargers? Is Jimmy G playing? Then, yeah, I can. Right? Okay. Because he's going to get the ball to Renfro. He's going to get the ball to Devontae Adams. They got Michael Mayer. So, and Josh Jacobs, maybe that helps Jimmy G play a couple more games because he can just turn around and hand it off to the leading rusher. And I really like their look, Max Crosby, they got some pieces.
They do.
Now, do I think the Raiders are a playoff team? No, I think they're probably 7-10. I think McDaniels probably gets canned. But look, I wish I could say the Raiders were going to be 2-15 and bring that whole roster back, draft Caleb Williams, and hire, Jim Harbaugh. I think that's the perfect scenario for them. But
yeah,
I think the Raiders will hang in there.
All right, we'll look at the next one. This one, I think we all thought Trey Lance was going to get moved somewhere.
I can't wait to hear AJ's take on this.
But Trey Lance this morning to Dallas makes not a lot of sense. And you already had a really good backup quarterback in Cooper Rush. I don't understand this move by Dallas. I don't get this one.
I cannot wait for AJ. You go first. You've been so befuddled this morning.
I mean, I think we've gone over this ad nauseum at this point, right? Like what they gave up for him.
They 4 first-round picks they've traded away at this point in the last.
Just to get a mid-round pick and just get him out of there and lose the distraction to Dallas. I mean, I don't know. I'm wondering if there's, this is your insurance policy against Dak, depending on how he does this year. But
is your thought that maybe you go away from Dak, you start Cooper and Trey Lance as your backup? Because Lance isn't hopping Cooper Rush at this point.
No, Cooper Rush played very well last year. I mean,
so I don't, that's why the move for Dallas kind of confuses me because you have a solid backup quarterback. Lance is not, and there was a lot of talk like, oh, Trey Lance is going to come in and be the backup. You're not beating out Cooper Rush. Not right now.
He couldn't even beat out Brock Purdy. So
I don't really understand this one.
I mean, I just think it's a shiny thing that Jerry looks at and goes,
Jerry needed a shiny toy.
He likes his shiny toys, and he hadn't had one in a while, so he was kind of, money was burning a hole in his pocket, as they say.
When you have that much, I guess it has a tendency to do that. Maybe I don't know.
Yep. No,
I'm never going to have that much.
On this. So. I don't even know if this guy. I can't see a scenario where he starts ever again for any team.
Well,
is Dallas going to carry 3 quarterbacks?
I don't. Well, most teams don't. I mean, it depends on the situation. In some situations, it does make sense to, but for them, I don't know. I haven't looked at their depth chart, but I don't know if it does make sense to carry 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's a lot. I have a lot of questions on this one. I don't understand the move, and then like, are you gonna carry 3? I don't know. Probably not.
Well, a couple things here that to bring to light. One, Trey Lance went to Kyle Shanahan, said, "I want the opportunity to go somewhere to be a number 2." Mm-hmm. That right there is a huge sign that Trey Lance knows he's not an NFL quarterback. And because most guys say, I want the opportunity to start, kind of like Baker did, right? Mm-hmm. This guy's saying he wants the opportunity to be a number 2. then Shanahan goes on to say, we got a 4th round pick, which is a little better than we thought we would get for him. I mean, that's basically like saying you've gotten more return on your investment at GameStop than you did trading a guy that you drafted number 3. Okay. Third, then Shanahan backtracks and is like, I always felt like I let Trey down. I mean, I wanted him to come here. I believe in Trey. I believe in him before we took him, and I'm responsible for that. I didn't want to throw him into the heat of battle right away, but I thought he needed to play. So we tried to figure out every way to do that. I mean, if I can look back in hindsight, he broke that finger on a helmet on that 4th preseason game against the Raiders. I wish I hadn't put him in a play that had him break his finger, but I think I hurt him that his first year. And he goes on to say, I just always feel like I let Trey down. That tells me that Shanahan's trying to step in front of this and take the heat. Because there is listen, I'm telling you right now, if they do not get back to the NFC Championship game, somebody's going. And it ain't good. You can't get rid of Kyle Shanahan. John Lynch is going to be gone. I don't care what you've brought in, dude. Don't care what you've done. This Trey Lance thing is a black eye.
Yep.
To pivot on the Dallas side, what about that?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, Jerry Jones, you're so enamored with Dak. Why would you even fool with this?
Yeah.
Why would you even give up a 4th round pick for this?
I would.
Like this made sense for Minnesota because Kirk Cousins is a free agent. This would have made sense for the Miami Dolphins. Don't beat me up, but Tua in and out of the lineup. This would have made sense for the Raiders, right? Okay, maybe he competes with Aiden O'Connell. Okay, maybe. This would have made sense for the Kansas City Chiefs because they love, resurrecting quarterbacks. That's what Andy Reid does. This to Dallas makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Other than to tell you they're hoping maybe the kid develops because they know Dak Prescott blows. They know he's not the guy. That's the only thing that makes logical sense. But this whole thing, I tell you what, I mean, if you can't beat out Sam Darnold for the number 2, it's really, really unfortunate. And it goes back to what I always say. Ceilings are great to talk about. We all have ceilings that are way higher, but it's kind of like sports handicapping. Are you willing to outwork people? Are you willing to get up at 4 a.m. and outwork me? No. Are you willing to study and go through every nick and cranny? No. That's why there's nobody better. So it's the same thing. This Trey Lance, yeah, his ceiling might be great, like Anthony Richardson. I heard about Jamarcus Russell, how much his ceiling was. Well, guess what? You put a little scissor in front of him, all of a sudden he's under the basement. All right. So ceilings mean nothing if you aren't smart enough or you don't have the inside want to. And I don't know if Trey Lance has this, but I tell you what, I think it creates huge, huge animosity down the road if the 49ers don't reach the pinnacle. And again, I like Brock Purdy, but I don't see him hoisting the Lombardi. I don't think he's that type of guy.
Well, it'll be interesting to see for San Fran. Like I think I agree with both of you. I just don't understand the move for Dallas. If you couldn't beat out Darnold, you're not going to beat out Cooper Rush, not anytime soon. Is the plan for Dallas to just go away from Dak? And I mean, I don't get
You're
going
gonna
to have
have
a 4th round pick. I mean, you can pull some nice talent in the 4th round of the
Absolutely.
NFL draft.
Hey, look,
so like
when this Dak deal comes around, AJ, yes or no, when he gets this new deal, once all this stuff's like, you're going to have to pay Dak like $60 million a year.
not happening.
I don't see how you can do that.
No, you got to draft a quarterback. Look, your team is too good. Dallas has a great roster, but I mean,
Said it, call me crazy. I thought they looked better with Cooper Rush at quarterback.
they did. They better hope they win week 1 at the Giants. That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a big game.
All right, so preseason is over. What are our takeaways here, boys? Going into the regular season, was there anything in preseason you saw that stands out to you? What are you looking forward to for the regular season? Give us
right
your
here,
thoughts
rapid
on
fire. What do you got, AJ?
I thought Aaron Rodgers looked great yesterday.
He did. That first drive, he did not look good. He was a very frustrated individual.
Yeah.
But then, like that second one, he was throwing darts.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm serious, but at the same time, the preseason was so tough. I mean, we got to see some faces, right? And I was really surprised to see some starters out there. But man, I don't know if I got anything like a big takeaway from what I saw. I mean, we went to a preseason game a couple nights ago, and it's hard to have any takeaways, right? When you're not seeing the first teams out there the whole time. Yeah. You're not seeing the schemes drawn up that they're probably going to be running, and it's just kind of like practice, so I don't know. I think week 1 is going to be very exciting. I think it's going to change everything, but I was glad to see the Ravens get beat too. That was kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I was glad to see the Ravens get beat. A couple takeaways is I still don't know how good the Redskins really can be. Like everybody's picking them, and I'm like,
Howell was my takeaway. I thought Sam Howell looked very, very good in the preseason. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. I'm so interested to see this kickoff game with the Chiefs. I want to see how now the Lions secondary is their weak part. So I want to see how this Chiefs receiving corps and without Chris Jones
receiving core, you idiot.
It's a corpse. Have you saw their receivers? We've been through this.
They're gonna be fine.
And can Detroit buy into the hype? Right. Yep. San Francisco. My takeaway is okay. Let's see if Kyle Shanahan can do this again, because he has been a wizard, but I just wonder if he's pressing his luck. You saw a little bit of Aaron Rodgers. I saw what the Jets could be, AJ, to your point. I saw a little bit of Lamar Odell. That looked pretty good. The Rams and Cardinals, both of those teams, I thought the Rams were going to have a bounce back. I didn't say playoffs, but man, they looked really bad in the preseason. Not one
Seattle
win.
looked good.
Not one win, didn't even sniff a win. Seattle did look good. But I think the biggest takeaway was shown in my preseason who wins divisions, who makes playoffs, is I think the Giants, and I pivoted and put them in the playoffs, their Giants could be pretty good.
Sneaky good.
And now with Isaiah Simmons, like bringing in Waller, drafting Hyatt, bringing in the other receiver, like Giants are my biggest eye opener of the preseason, to where I'm like, okay, yeah, that team could be good.
I think my takeaway is, like I said, Sam Howell, I thought he looked good. Be interesting to see him and Bieniemy, how they work in Washington. He looked better than I thought he was going to look. So, other takeaway, I did think Seattle looked really good. Stroud looked better as the preseason went on. Man, he didn't look great to start, but he did kind of pick it up and looked a little better. Bryce Young looked pretty good. It struggled in the beginning, but I think he's looked better as preseason's gone on as well.
As the season goes on, they won't be very good at the beginning, but I'm telling you, the back half of the year, Bryce Young's going to finish top 15 QBR. I'm telling you, it's just going to take him a while to get together, because they're going to have to play patchwork with that offensive line.
Yeah, for sure. I think Derek Carr looked good for New Orleans. I think the Saints are going to be very, very good.
They're sneaky good. They're sneaky good.
And then, obviously, takeaway for the Chiefs is Chris Jones at this point. I have no idea what's going to happen here. I don't think he's going to play week 1, boys. I think we're going to be without Chris Jones for a while. So
it's going to hurt. Hey, last note before we get out of here. The other team, Pittsburgh Steelers, won the preseason.
Yeah, Pittsburgh looked good. Pittsburgh looked very good. Very, very good, which we thought they would.
What do you mean they won the preseason?
I think they looked better than any team the whole preseason.
Yeah, they did. Old Kenny Pickett looked good, man.
Old Kenny Pickett.
Old Kenny Pickett
selling tickets.
All right, John Boy, what do you got in John's betting core to send us off into the week? What you got?
Listen, visit the website, bccsports.com. or you can email me, John at bccsports.com. Listen, guys, Thursday we're going to have plays. Saturday we're going to have plays. Football season's here. Do not mess around. Start from the very beginning, okay? And it's total foolproof for you. You come on the first month, if I'm not at least 6 units over in September, you get October half off, okay? So there's absolutely nothing to lose here. Just give me a shot. I swear it'll be the best investment ever. I'm not a salesman. I'm a gambler first, a handicapper second. So when you lose, I lose. When you win, I win, okay? So we're in this together. I follow a strict set of rules. I follow a strict set of money management that I want you to follow. I'm not about just turning over business and how many people I can get. I want good people that actually want to make money. Hop on board. It's going to be a great, great football season. Last year between college and NFL, we picked at 68%, and we were over 100 games over between the two. So it's going to be a phenomenal year. Hop on for the ride.
Absolutely. I think we're really excited for football season here to get this thing going. Obviously, we're going to have 2 episodes a week for you starting to, so you're going to get even more content from us. Tune in Thursday night. We're going to have a fantasy draft show. Obviously, we're going to talk about some news and stuff in between picks, but excited for that first annual BCCS Sports Fantasy Football League. So we're going to have some fun stuff as the season goes on for you guys from fantasy as well. But yeah, looking forward to the football season, looking forward to a full slate of college games. I like how college has their first weekend where it's just college. Yeah. Because I really enjoy college football. Yeah. I probably enjoy watching college more than I do the NFL. So I'm excited for some college football this weekend. So football is back. Excited. Hope you guys have a great week. Obviously, we'll be back on Thursday, and we'll be back with 2 episodes for you again next week. So get out there, enjoy the week. Football's here. Enjoy all the games, and we will talk to you guys again soon. God bless.
Love you, my winners. BCCSsports.com. John at BCCSsports.com. I did that twice. Sign up.